Hey, welcome to my leadership lunch. We've been doing this every week and just trying to infiltrate into you some leadership learning and some things that you need to benchmark in your life to be able to take you up a little bit higher. Today, I want to talk to you for just a minute as about goals. I have been working through an email list this week about healthy goals, right? And so let me see here. I'm trying to pull this up. Self-efficacy and unleashing the power within you, right? I thought that word was kind of funny when I first read it. Self-efficacy. Okay. um, One of the ways that I have gotten where I'm at today and not getting to the spot where I have arrived at all yet, but on my way, I've been listening to a certain number of voices that have really just kind of helped me begin to establish my mind to get where I want to get. One of those voices is Earl Nightingale. Now, I didn't have a clue who this guy was until I started just consuming as much like YouTube University as I could. Starting about a year ago, I think it was, that I really started working on honing in and reprogramming my thinking. And so I began to utilize some of these voices that would begin to help me reprogram or renew my mind into becoming just renewed. And so he has this statement. He's written a book and he has long since passed away, but a great voice in his field of leadership development and in he's known as a motivational speaker, but a fantastic, phenomenal voice of his era, of his day, of his generation. And he said this, he said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Now that is huge. And honestly, the thing that disseminates down is, how do we define what is a worthy goal? How do you have a proper goal? We asked our kids as they begin to start school this week, we asked them, hey, what's your goal for school this year? What do you want to accomplish? And so it was kind of funny. And, you can't expect a whole lot more out of kids, but their goals were to get done quick, right? I want to be able to finish my math book in 8 days. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're gonna be severely disappointed because you have to go 180 days. So what it tells me is that, and honestly, there are so many moments of our lives that we kind of equate even childish thinking into who we are and what we do. And what it tells me is that we need to be able to figure out how to establish proper, healthy goals in the orchestration of our lives. So what do? How do we do this? What needs to happen for us to be able to activate and move forward? And then another healthy thing that needs to come into play is what happens when things go against what we are working towards. What happens when, like, my phrase, the fertilizer hits the fan and it's out of control? What do you do in those moments? How do you stay true to your goal? Well, the way to do it is by setting up healthy goals to begin with, to be able to really hone in on the processes of progression. And so what was his thing? What was his statement? Let me see if I can't pull it back up here. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So success is progressive. It needs to be able to move forward. Progressive movement needs to be able to make sure that you are advancing. One of the key indicators I find in business today is that progress has stopped. And when progress has stopped, success also begins to stop. Why is that? And ultimately, if you do an autopsy of this, or a live autopsy, if you will, you can figure out that the worthy goal was not ever in place. The worthy goal ends up becoming, well, I hope that we don't lose the momentum we have right now, or I hope that we don't lose the clients that we have right now. That's not a goal. That's a wish. And wishing is like, good Lord, we're in a society today where everything is marketable and everything is up for grabs. So the clients that you have right now, they're not your clients. They're just people that you have relationships with today. But behind your back, there could be some other competitor of yours that is kind of wooing one of your clients, and tomorrow you could lose that client. So hoping that you keep what you have currently is not a goal. It's got to be a progressive realization, and you've got to be able to assess your field and know, am I in a healthy spot? What do I need to do to continue to be in a healthy spot? What are my pathways towards profitability, and what do they call it? Uh, Disbursement, not disbursement, multiple options. What do they call that when you have multiple options? That's the thing that you need to look for, is diversity. There it is. Diversity when it comes to your business share, your marketing share, to be able to make sure that you have what you need to have. Because one of the mistakes that we can tend to make is seeing what I have currently is going to always be there. Well, that's not what is going to be true. You have to be able to shift gears. This is what it comes in terms of like the leadership lid, or just assessing where we're at to know where I want to get, and then the steps that need to take place to get there. So my question becomes is, where are you currently and where do you want to end up? Now, one of the things that I frequently process through when it comes to my clients and the businesses that I work with is, what does the end look like? And how do you know that you've gotten there? If you don't know the end, you have no idea when you will have arrived, nor do you have an idea about how to get there. I use this simple analogy every time. When was the last time you took a road trip? And what was the process that came into being for you to be able to actually go on that road trip? I love road trips. In fact, we just came back from Michigan about 2 weeks ago, and it was a great trip. But before we even left our house, I mean, you know how this goes. You don't pull out the map anymore. You just, type up on Google Maps, this is my end destination, and what's the pathway to get there, and what are some things that I want to avoid. I always want to avoid tolls, so I don't want to take the toll road. I want to pay for being on a road. I want to do this as quick as possible. We had some places that we wanted to stop along the way, and so you key those in, and you get to the destination. And now you can backtrack that. When do I need to leave? What do I need to be prepared for? What do I need to be cautious of? Where's some stops along the way? For us, it's always like rest stops. Where are the rest stops along the way? And you can't always figure those things out, and so you kind of got to live in the moment a little bit. And with 72 kids, or 57 kids was my number back in the day, you can't really plan for pit stops. You kind of have to be like, who's the first one that says, I got to go right now, right? So we got to figure that out. And you could kind of plan for some gas stops and all that. But the destination is crucial, and then the pathway to get to the destination is just as crucial. The same is true for business. We don't set out today and hope for success. No, we first plan for what success is, and then we backtrack and figure out, okay, what are the things I need to do to get success? One of the biggest mistakes we make in this is that we plan for survival, and all we ever do is hope for survival. But when survival is threatened, what do? We go into survival mode. I'm just going to do whatever it takes today to be able to survive. Well, God has already given us the ability to survive. He gave us that. He's given us so much in His Word that told us that we will be successful in this if we just launch out and we activate the right steps. We be wise in our pursuit. So what questions do you need to ask about your business and about where you're going and about what you want to accomplish? There's going to be a struggle. There's going to be a wrestling match along the way to be able to get you to where you want to go. But it starts with lots of questions. In fact, today, as we started our school year today, we did some devotions. And so today being the 14th of the month, we took Proverbs chapter 14 and we just looked through that a little bit. In fact, we didn't even get beyond the first 10 verses. And what I found was that it was creating a pathway. The destination is a successful life. It actually says that in there. And not verbatim, but the gist of the passage was how to create a successful life. And the breakdown of that is by making wise choices. And it's contrasting wise choices and foolish choices. And so I'm asking my kids, how do you become wise? If he says, a pathway or a life of success is down a pathway that is filtered through wisdom, well, how do you become wise? And there are like obvious answers. Well, we go to school and we read books and we learn things. And to me, it comes down to one simple thing: curiosity. It's the questions that you ask that will actually pave the way to get where you want to go. And I ask them, what are curiosity questions? Every time it comes back to how? How do I do this? How did he do that? How did he accomplish what he got in life? One of the biggest failures that we have is we don't ask curiosity questions, we actually turn them into frustrating statements. I wish that I could, or I wish that we had, or I wish that whatever the case may be, and we end up injecting an element of negativity and frustration into our thought process and into our daily lives by flipping it from an element of curiosity to an element of victim, like a victimology. I wish that I had, or woe is me because I don't, and because they do. How did they do it? No, we've got to get to a spot of curiosity. How do I accomplish that? How do I accomplish what I want? Forget comparing whatever everyone else is at. Let's just compare ourselves with who we used to be and figure out how do we become better today and to get to the spot where we become next. That is a pathway towards a worthy goal. Let's go back to the statement one more time. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So honestly, what's your goal? Where do you want to arrive? What do you want to get to? We'll talk about this more along the way. And honestly, we're unpacking this in pretty good detail this week through my email list with how to set up really good goals. So if you want to be a part of that, let me know. I can get you actually down at the bottom of this. I'll put a link to get onto my email list, and we can converse. We can go back and forth. I can help you with this. But I'm curious. Talk to me. What's your goal? What's your goal for this year, for your life, for your family, for your business, for your whatever else? I don't have my Bible in front of me today, but one of the things that really just sticks with me, and in fact, I think this is found in Proverbs chapter 14, but it says a wise son is basically, it says a wise son is directed by his father's instruction. And so it really sends two messages. Number one, the direction of my children's success and health and vitality is based on me, but it also expects that I'm teaching something, right? There's an element of like father-son instruction or mother-daughter instruction or parent-child instruction. It's an intentional element. And so one of the things that I kind of ask myself, an evaluator that I look to pretty consistently is, what am I teaching? What am I instructing my kids in? You know, we end up doing this element of like toleration. It should be actually intentional development of their lives and getting them to a spot of health and vitality and success as a progressive realization of a worthy goal. They need to know that. So what have you experienced? How have you been through this? And what's your goal? What are you reaching for? Just one of them. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Leadership Lunch on Tuesdays. I hope you're having a great week. Let me know how it can help. I would love to come alongside and help you do some great things in your life and get unstuck in your business to find out where to go next.